Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ryan Guest, here with Election Predictions Official. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the 2024 Senate map based on inside election Senate ratings from late September. Now, back in the 2022 midterms, inside elections correctly predicted the outcome in all 32 out of the 32 races that they had assigned as non-toss-ups. That includes correct predictions in favor of Democrats in Arizona and New Hampshire, which they had labeled as tilt Democrat, as well as correct Republican calls in Wisconsin and North Carolina, rated tilt Republican. Overall, Inside Elections ranked as the second most accurate forecaster of the 2022 Senate elections, behind only Cook Political Report. Now, if you're wondering how I calculated these accuracy ratings for each notable forecast, I explained it in full detail in my last video covering Cook's 2024 presidential race ratings. A link to that video will pop up in the top right-hand corner right now. In short, though, I basically just converted the 2022 Senate margins into race ratings, categorizing solid states as those won by over 15%, likely states by 7 to 15%, and then lean states by 0 to 7%. Then I devised a scoring system to evaluate the accuracy of forecasts, where precise predictions received 5 points, accurate but not quite exact predictions earned 2 points, and then these points were totaled in this row here. Forecasts were essentially rewarded for classifying a state as leaning in one direction, rather than just marking it down as a toss-up. So for example, like Inside Elections received more points for their prediction in Arizona than Cook or Politico because they had it as leaning Democrat, rather than just a toss-up. Alrighty, now shifting over to 2024's Senate ratings, Inside Elections has the most up-to-date forecast, with their latest update coming in September of this year. Now, it's no secret that the way the map is set up in 2024, Republicans have a clear advantage. Of the 34 seats on the ballot, 23 are currently filled by Democratic caucus members. And of the 10 presumed battleground states, Democrats are defending 8 of them, including 3 that Trump won in both 2016 and 2020. Furthermore, given that next year's Senate elections will be occurring simultaneously as the presidential election, split-ticket voting is expected to decrease even more from what is already a historic low. That is, fewer and fewer voters have backed members of different parties for different offices in recent elections. And as a result, there are fewer Democrats in the Senate representing strongly Republican states at the presidential level, and vice versa, than ever before. Across both the 2016 and 2020 general elections, only one state voted for presidential and Senate candidates of opposite parties, Maine. Going back as recently as 2012, that number was 6. Now, these trends are due to the hyperpolarization we're experiencing in our politics, where partisanship has become the ultimate deciding factor in which candidates voters back in any given election. And as you'll see here with the ratings to come, that is likely to seriously dampen Democratic hopes of maintaining their 51 to 49 seat majority. With that said, let's start by filling in the states that Democrats don't have to worry about come November of next year. The states rated as solidly Democratic by Inside Elections are, to no one's surprise, up the West Coast, Hawaii, California, and Washington. New Mexico and Minnesota are the lone non-coastal safe blue states. The rest are all located up here in the Northeast, New York, and then Vermont and Maine, where Senators Bernie Sanders and Angus King, respectively, are both independents who caucus with the Democrats in the Senate. Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island complete the Democrats' sweep of New England seats. Finally, in the Mid-Atlantic region, Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia round up the total of 12 seats placed in the safely Democratic column. That gets them to 42 seats. They'll need 8 more from here on out if Joe Biden manages to win re-election and Vice President Kamala Harris continues to hold the tie-breaking vote. Otherwise, they would need 9 more to get to 51. On the Republican side, though, they start out at a much higher floor with 38 seats, just 4 shy of where Democrats are now. And as for their safe states, this time starting in the Southeast, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Florida, where Senator Rick Scott is expected to cruise to re-election just 2 years after fellow Republican Senator Marco Rubio was re-elected by 16 points in Florida in 2022. Missouri and Indiana in the Midwest, though, will reside in the safe red column as well. Both states had Democratic senators as recently as 2018, but are strong Republican states at the presidential level, having backed Trump by more than 15% in 2016 and 2020. And as split ticket voting appears to be a thing of the past, incumbents Josh Hawley and Mike Braun won't run into any issues. The state of Nebraska has 2 Senate elections running concurrently in 2024. Both the regular and special elections are rated as safe Republican, though, as are the states of North Dakota, Wyoming, and Utah, which round out the GOP's safe seats headed into 2024. And yes, you are reading that right, 48. That is the minimum number of seats that Republicans will win in next November's contests, which is an astonishingly high number given that there are 4 more Trump states not yet rated, along with another 5 states that he lost by less than 3 percentage points in 2020. In fact, the only state not falling into either of those categories is New Jersey, which is rated as likely Democrat rather than safe because of incumbent Senator Bob Menendez's ongoing legal troubles. He was recently indicted for federal corruption charges, but has stated that he will not resign and expects to run for re-election. Now, early polling does indicate that Congressman Andy Kim, who announced his intention to run against the incumbent in the Democratic primary, could end up cruising by a large margin, in which case the Democrats will probably be in a better position than if Menendez was their nominee. Anyways, that leaves these 9 states left on the board. As I said, Trump either won or came within 3% of Biden in 2020 in each of these states. Now, since I've already labeled the lone likely Democratic state, I'll also go ahead and label the only likely Republican state as well, Texas. Senator Ted Cruz had a scare in 2018 against Beto O'Rourke, but still won re-election by 2.5 points in spite of his sincere unpopularity and the relative success of O'Rourke's campaign. He is likely to face Democrat Colin Allred in 2024, who is probably going to receive a lot of big liberal donor support, and could certainly outperform Biden statewide in Texas, but probably not enough to win in a state that has not voted for a Democratic president, senator, or governor since 1990. On the other side, though, Inside Elections rates 2 states as leaning Democrat, both in the upper Midwest, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Both seats are currently held by Democrats. Tammy Baldwin is running for re-election in Wisconsin, while Debbie Stabenow is retiring in Michigan. That's obviously not ideal for the Democratic Party, but they have shown considerable strength in Michigan over the last few election cycles. And early polling shows that Stabenow's likely successor, Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin, has a clear advantage over hypothetical Republican opponents. 6 states remain now, and all of them are rated either as toss-ups or tilting in favor of Democrats or Republicans. Starting in West Virginia, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin is a total anomaly in a state that backed Trump by nearly 40 points in 2016 and 2020. Manchin has not announced whether he will or will not run for re-election, but if he doesn't, this race could very well be considered a safe flip for Republicans, as sitting Governor Jim Justice is a very popular figure in West Virginia, and any Democrat other than Manchin would probably suffer a pretty substantial defeat. Inside Elections currently rates the race as tilting Republican. That said, both Pennsylvania and Nevada are rated as tilt Democrat. Senators Bob Casey Jr. and Jackie Rosen will have the benefit of incumbency, as well as the fact that Biden won both of these states in 2020 on their side. However, as I mentioned, with it becoming rarer and rarer that states vote for candidates of different parties for president and for Senate, both incumbents run the risk of potentially being pulled under if Biden's favorability remains low and he slips in either Pennsylvania or Nevada. Finally, that leaves the three toss-up states, according to Inside Elections, as Arizona, Montana, and Ohio. Democrats currently occupy all three of these seats in the Senate, but the dynamics are either too unclear or too unfavorable to say with any confidence that their chances are anything better than 50-50 right now. Senator Kyrsten Sinema's defection from the Democratic Party recently in Arizona seems to be paving the path toward a potential three-way contest between herself running as an independent, Democratic Congressman Ruben Gallego, and 2022 Republican gubernatorial nominee Kari Lake. It's anyone's guess at this point as to how exactly that plays out, at least until things are finalized and we get more consistent polling data. Montana and Ohio, meanwhile, are Republican states at the presidential level, just like West Virginia, but do have more popular Democratic incumbents running. Jon Tester of Montana and Sherrod Brown of Ohio are two of Democrats' strongest overperformers, and they feature unique brands that are well suited to win in their respective states, that could give them a shot at re-election, even with Trump expected to win both states by comfortable margins in 2024. That will be all though for today's video, where I visualized Inside Elections race ratings on a 2024 map, as well as offered some of my own insights into why these races lean one way or another. Just as I did with Cook Political Report's 2024 presidential race ratings, I'm going to try to bring you more of these styles of videos with other forecasts and ratings in the near future. So make sure to subscribe to my channel down below so you don't miss them. Feel free to also like the video while you're down there as well. That'll mean a lot. You can check out more content from my channel here, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. EP out.